Non-priority guest. That's what the place card said. Printed on linen cardstock in the same elegant calligraphy as every other card at my sister's wedding. 200 guests milling through a grand ballroom, champagne flutes, catching the light from crystal chandeliers. And I was standing by the seating chart, holding the only card with a label beneath the name. My mother appeared at my elbow, smelled like Chanel No. 5, and whispered, "That means no seat at the family table, honey. Don't make a fuss." What my family didn't know was that the $10,000 check in the gift envelope wasn't just a present. It was 6 months of skipped lunches and secondhand coats. And what I did next changed every holiday, every phone call, and every assumption they'd ever made about the quiet one. Before I go on, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely connect with this story. Drop a comment with your city and what time it is where you are. My name is Waverly, I'm 31, and this is the story of a wedding, a place card, and the moment I stopped begging for a seat at a table that was never meant for me. Let me take you back to 6 months before the wedding, when I still believed that showing up and showing love would be enough. Growing up in the Ashford house meant understanding the hierarchy before you could spell it. My father, Douglas, retired early from insurance brokerage and filled his days with golf and silence. My mother, Patricia, ran the household like a campaign headquarters. Every holiday card curated, every dinner party flawless, every family photo staged for maximum impression. Then there was Garrett, my older brother. Corporate lawyer, firm handshake, the kind of man who introduced himself with his title before his name. And Meredith, the youngest, marketing director at 27, engagement ring from Tiffany's at 26, and the undisputed center of Patricia's universe since the day she was born. I was the middle, the filler paragraph between two headliners. Our living room told the story better than I ever could. Meredith's pageant trophies lined the mantel, 12 of them, polished monthly. Garrett's Georgetown law diploma hung in a mahogany frame above the piano, and my things, my college graduation photo, sat on a side table, wedged behind a ceramic vase Patricia had picked up in Tuscany, moved it to the front once. By the next morning, it was behind the vase again. I worked as a school counselor at a public high school, a job I loved with my whole chest. I spent my days talking teenagers through panic attacks and family crises and college applications, and I was good at it. Last spring, the district named me Counselor of the Year. I texted a photo of the plaque to our family group chat. Patricia sent a heart emoji. Garrett left it on red. Meredith never opened the message. That was the thing about the Ashfords. Love wasn't something they gave freely. It was allocated. I'd learned early that my share was whatever was left over. Meredith announced her engagement on a Sunday in October. A FaceTime call with all 4 Ashfords on screen and Connor Bradley, her fiancé, grinning beside her with a 3-carat Tiffany solitaire catching the light. Connor came from money, old money. His family owned commercial real estate across 3 states, and his mother, Helen, hosted charity galas the way other women hosted book clubs. Patricia cried. Actually cried. "My baby girl," she kept saying, dabbing her eyes with a linen napkin. Douglas raised his coffee mug in a toast. Garrett said, "About time, Mayor." I said, "Congratulations." I meant it. The wedding would be held at Whitmore Estate, a 5-star resort property an hour north of the city, the kind of venue with a stone chapel and a ballroom with 30-feet ceilings and a price tag that could cover a year of my rent. Patricia had already started a shared Pinterest board before the call ended. In the weeks that followed, I asked Meredith how I could help. I called twice, texted 3 times. Each reply was the same polite deflection. Just show up and wear something nice. There's no task, no role, no involvement, like I was being managed, not included. But I wanted to do something. I wanted to prove to her, to all of them, that I showed up, that I cared, that I was family in every way that mattered. So I started saving. I cut my lunches too. Leftovers from dinner? I skipped my gym membership, stopped buying new clothes, 6 months of quiet sacrifice, until I had $10,000 in a certified check sealed in a craft paper envelope with a handwritten card that said, "For your new beginning." I told myself this gift would show them my heart was bigger than my paycheck. I was wrong about what it would show them. The bridal party was announced in February. Group photo on Meredith's Instagram with 6 women in matching silk chiffon blush dresses, $400 each, arms linked, champagne glasses raised. Her college roommate, her sorority sisters, 2 colleagues from the agency. Not one of them shared her last name. I saw the post before anyone told me. Scrolled past it on my lunch break, sitting in my car in the school parking lot, holding a granola bar. I'd packed to save money for that check. My thumb hovered over the comment section. I didn't type anything. That night, I texted Meredith. Hey, saw the bridal party post. Looks beautiful. I considered for bridesmaid. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. I wanted to keep it to my closest circle. You understand, right? Closest circle? Her sister wasn't in her closest circle. I called Patricia, hoping for, some indignation on my behalf. Maybe some maternal instinct kicking in. Instead, I got, "Don't make this about you, honey. Meredith has her reasons." Said it the way she always did. Sweet enough to sound loving. Firm enough to shut me down. So I swallowed it. I told myself I was overreacting. I told myself bridesmaids were just a formality. That what mattered was being there for my sister's day. The next week, Meredith posted fitting photos. The girls in their blush silk giggling, mowed on a silver tray in the background. She tagged every single bridesmaid by name. I wasn't tagged, I wasn't mentioned, I wasn't in the frame. And somewhere in the back of my mind, a small voice whispered that the seating chart I'd glimpsed on Patricia's laptop didn't have my name at the family table. But I wasn't ready to hear it yet. I helped anyway. That's what people pleasers do. We help even when nobody asks, and then we wonder why nobody thanks us. 3 weeks before the wedding, the custom napkin vendor shipped to the wrong address. Meredith was in a meeting. Patricia was at a hair appointment. Garrett didn't answer his phone. So, I drove 2 hours round trip on a Wednesday evening after a full day of work, a day that included talking a sophomore down from a panic attack in the girls' bathroom, and sitting through a 3-hour IEP meeting to pick up 400 monogrammed cocktail napkins from a warehouse in the next county. When I got to Patricia's house and carried the boxes inside, she was on FaceTime with Meredith. "Everything's handled, sweetheart. Don't you worry about a thing." She didn't mention me. Not to Meredith. Not to the caterer she called next. Not to Aunt Laura when she stopped by that weekend. The narrative was always the same. Meredith planned everything herself. A week later, Garrett called. "Hey, can you spot me 200 for the bachelor party? I'll get you back. Send it through Venmo before I finish my morning coffee." He never paid me back. I never mentioned it again. That evening, I sat in my Honda Civic in Patricia's driveway after dropping off the final centerpiece samples. Eating a $6 deli sandwich for dinner because I was saving every spare cent for that $10,000 check. Through the kitchen window, I could see Patricia and Meredith laughing over wine, flipping through a seating chart on a tablet. I went inside to say goodnight, glanced at the screen. My name wasn't at table 1. "Oh, that's not final yet," Patricia said, angling the tablet away. "Don't worry about it. I should have worried."
The rehearsal?
Dinner was held at a private dining room downtown. It's a kind of place with a 12-page wine list and waiters who introduced themselves by first name. I wore a charcoal sheath dress I'd bought on clearance at Nordstrom Rack. It was the nicest thing I owned. I arrived on time. The main table ran the length of the room. Douglas and Patricia on one end, Meredith and Connor on the other, Garrett and his girlfriend in the middle, flanked by his parents and his brother. 12 seats, every one of them spoken for. I was directed to the overflow table, foretop near the kitchen door alongside 2 of Patricia's tennis friends and a distant cousin's wife I'd met exactly once. There weren't enough chairs at the main table, Patricia explained when I found her in the hallway. She straightened my collar like I was 12. "You understand, sweetie?" At the main table, a sommelier was pouring Mo. At mine, the waiter sat down a carafe of house wine. I watched them through the dinner. Patricia glowing, touching Meredith's arm, Garrett making his brother laugh. Douglas quiet but present. Present in a way he never seemed to be with me. At one point, Helen Bradley's mother, a silver-haired woman with a firm handshake and the kind of posture that suggested decades of knowing exactly who she was, leaned toward Patricia and said something I couldn't hear. Patricia laughed and waved a hand in my direction. "Oh, Waverly prefers quieter settings," saw Helen glance at me. Then at the overflow table, then back at Patricia. Her expression didn't change, but something in her eyes sharpened. And near the seating chart display, the wedding planner, a woman named Simone Reeves,